Chazzy, man, have you learnt any Spanish for this week's guest?
What do you mean, man?
You know, this week's super special secret guest. He's calling in from Spain. I've been using Siri to try and learn a few bits and bobs, get my head around the lingo. Have a listen to this. Siri, translate English to Spanish, Xbox.
Xbox.
Xbox. See?
Nah, it's all good, Dan. I'm actually British. I just happen to live in Spain.
Siri, translate Spanish to English. No, it's all good, Dan. I'm actually British. I just happen to live in Spain.
I have a club foot and was raised by puffins.
Wow, Joey, man. You're so brave to open up to us like that. You must have real courage.
Dan, are you sure that's right?
Since when has Siri got anything wrong?
Your Siri's going mad, mate.
Yo soy el Papa Grande por aquí.
Joey, what does that mean?
It means I'm the big daddy round here.
No se traducen ni parareos, ni usaré mi rayo de la muerte.
Huh?
What?
He said to stop translating him to you two or he'll use his death ray.
Dan, could you at least switch off your phone until we're finished recording?
But what about Twitter?
But what about death ray?
But Twitter?
But death ray.
A little bit of death ray never hurt anybody.
Tengo el rayo de la muerte más poderosa del planeta. Porque crees que mi batería se agota tan rápido.
Joey, translate Spanish to English. Tengo el rayo de la muerte más poderosa del planeta. Porque crees que mi batería se agota tan rápido.
He says the iPhone has the most powerful death ray on the planet, and that's why the battery drains so quickly.
All right. I'll switch it off just this once. It's only a bloody death ray. I bet I miss an important tweet from Rusty Lee. Can't even play my disc driving moves, for fuck's sake.
Hello and welcome to the AI Box podcast. I'm Chazzy. With me is the lovely Dan Clark, as always, but we are joined by a very special guest, and that is Mr. Joey Calvo from Last Save Loaded. How you doing, sir?
Hello there. Thanks for having me on.
Thank you for being
Thanks
here.
for coming on, man.
I don't know about that very special guest, but yeah, it's an honour to be here.
Oh no, sir.
You're from countries afar.
Yeah,
so,
exactly.
Yeah, it's always special.
Nice
Cheers,
special.
man.
So yeah, Dan, do you wanna interrogate our guest?
Yeah, let's. First things first. Like, we know you as a gamer and a podcaster, but what do you enjoy doing outside of that? Like, if you had to pick, say, your one other thing other than gaming and podcasting,
Yeah.
what's your passion or hobby?
Well, apart from gaming, gaming and watching films and listening to music as well is cooking.
Wow.
Funny enough, yeah, I live in a region that's gastronomically very rich, and it has a lot of potential to sort of learn about cooking because it's the northern region of Spain, so it has a lot of influence from other areas as well. So it's very nice because the haute cuisine here is very, very high, and so there's always lots to learn from other chefs and go to restaurants and try different types of food. So it's not all sort of, Spanish paella and stuff. It's
Everyone
lots of
assumes
nice
certain things about Spanish cooking, don't they? Like, like you say, your paella, your Iberico ham, and the sort of the standards. But
Yeah, exactly.
it seems like there's so much experimental stuff going on in the Basque region, especially. But like, Spain has an awful lot of, as you say, haute cuisine. So yeah.
Yeah, there's some fantastic restaurants. Unfortunately, the Basque country is quite expensive, and especially San Sebastian. But it's well worth a visit if you like cooking like me and living here as well. You get to see and try lots of different influences from all over the world as well. But I mean, we don't have such a Chinese or a Japanese or an Indian restaurant, any of that sort, because the food here is already sort of so sustainable that we've got varieties to choose from, endless varieties, and there's no
a melting
need
pot that works almost.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's it. And so you're always going to a new restaurant, but it's always had that Basque influence with it, which is always really nice because it's always some new chef that just come out of university, decided to open a restaurant, and it's always fantastic food. So,
Oh, nice one, man.
Yeah.
So if anyone hadn't noticed, we've actually turned it into the cookery cast.
Yeah. If anyone's not noticed, like, we've I'm
ditched
really into
games.
cooking as well. So yeah, we're going to talk about Cooking Mama this week and burger time.
Exactly.
And, yeah.
That's fine by me.
That's good, man.
Yeah, so we went off on a weird tangent there, but like, why did you get into podcasting? Like, your show started off as a different show than it is now.
Yeah.
But what made you go for that angle when you first started?
I think Jake and I originally started. Last I've Loaded, for those of you that don't know us, started off just like a bit of a mess around. To be honest, Jake and I were both members of the old Gamer Dork, and we just had this funny idea one Christmas. I think it was 22nd or 23rd 23rd of December, I think it was. We sat down and we'd been gaming all night, and we just thought. I said to him, why don't we do a podcast? Everyone else is doing it. Let's try it. And he kindly obliged and said, yeah, all right, why not? And we sat down and we found the record button on the computer and decided to have a chat and do a pilot, which is still up there.
Can you remember what you were playing that night where you first decided?
Red Dead Redemption, I think we were close to.
No surprise there.
If anyone doesn't know, Red Dead Redemption is kind of Last Save Loaded's pet game, the game that is the one for those guys. So, hence why that isn't a surprise to anyone.
Yeah, we love that game to bits. Both Jake and I passionately. We've had hours and hours and hours of fun on it, and it's a great game. I'm sure you guys have also got some good things to say about it because it's awesome.
Absolutely, I just love the idea that you kind of do your own time trials on all the different hideaways. I think that's amazing. I think you've just sort of made your own game within a game.
Yeah. This is the old Twin Rocks, which is famously our weekend haunt where we go with Rob. Justin's been there as well. Jake and myself, we sort of put on a private game, go off to Twin Rocks and see how many we can shoot. And I think our record stands. We did Rob, Jake, and I, three of us, and it was ages ago. Which record still stands was 23 seconds. 23 or 25, something like that. 20, yeah.
Right.
And it was
something
very,
damn
very quick.
impressive.
The challenge is on then, Dan. We're going to have to find someone else. I reckon we'll get one of the console ninjas involved, and then we're going to have to take that challenge on, man.
Yeah, it's totally. Really tough. It's really tough because everyone's got to know. I mean, it took about 50, 60 attempts to try to get it,
spot
at
on.
a decent time.
Yeah,
but
everyone's got their own role.
Yeah, exactly. It was just like, running down the hill. One of them goes off to the left, the other goes to the right. The one chucks the grenade as they come out the house. Bang, 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 covering each other's back and hopefully not getting shot, which means you have to restart again. Is it
very similar to like when you're playing Trials, where as soon as you get to like 3 seconds in and someone knows that they've done something wrong, you just go, right, cancel that, we'll start again. Restart.
No, we tend to finish it because on one or two occasions we've completely sort of messed up and got a good time. I mean, just a little over a minute, like a minute and 1 second or something like that. And we just thought, well, that's good because it's really motivating to go again and do it, even better the next time.
That's when we did badly. We can do really well. Yeah.
Yeah, certainly. So it's always motivating to have that other next step up and saying, right, this time we're going to do it without messing up, but we're going to get a faster time. Doesn't always work like that, but that's the intention.
Exactly. I might not be the most helpful person to do a time trial in that game because the reason I love it is that it's one of the few games where you can get lost.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? I love the fact you can literally get lost. It's not like GTA where I know there are landmarks, but there's still points where you dip into a valley and you are lost because you can't see what else is there. Well, other than using the map, obviously. But I like the idea of just being lost in a virtual place.
Yeah. It's amazing as well because more than once, I mean, when this game came out, Jake and I used to spend quite a bit of time on it, playing, and it was sort of how we became friends from the beginning, and really we used to just apart from the odd cliff jumping, because we used to do the which is the other thing we do is you just go to the highest point or the highest cliff, run off and see how long it takes the other person to land, and see if you can land on top of the other player.
Kind of emotional gameplay, yeah.
Those are all, when you've done like 6 or 7 hideouts continuously and know who's coming out from what rock, you think, right, let's try and find something else to do here.
Exactly.
And these are all games that we've managed to make on our own. And the other one is, with the three of us, with Justin, Jake and myself, we've also been riding off across the hills trying to find the most spectacular, when the sun sets, and there's an amazing moment where the sun sort of starts to go down, and you just sit on the top of the cliff, and the three of us are just looking over this cliff, just looking at the sun go down. It's just the view is just stunning.
That's what I was going to say earlier. That it's just one of those games where you can stand still and just admire the scenery and just kind of get lost in it.
Yeah, until you get attacked by a jaguar.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
Do the multicoloured stars ever put you guys off? Not put you off, but kind of
stars.
Yeah, if you look at the stars, they're multicoloured.
Oh no, I didn't.
Yeah, they're like sort of firework colours or disco-like colours. And once I noticed it, I couldn't. It's one of those things you can't unsee. Do you know what I mean? Like your grandma in a 90. It's one of those moments.
What do you get up to at the weekends?
But yeah, it's just one of those I can't unsee it now things. And it, like I say, it doesn't put me off the game, but it's like once I've noticed it, my eyes keep getting drawn to these like red, blue, and green stars.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm really sorry. Oh no! Now, if you haven't noticed it, you're going to notice it now and say, "Oh, if I'd never gone on that podcast, I never would have spotted it."
Well, this is a call for you guys then to come and join us one evening on the multiplayer then for definitely.
Oh yeah,
because,
totally.
I think it's a great game to play as a posse and do a few hideouts and stuff with it. Have you got the DLC as well? Have you got the zombie? DLC?
Yeah, I've got Undead Nightmare. Yeah,
good. No, see, I have a thing about DLC, so I have this weird thing where once I finish a game, the game's dead to me, and I won't pick up the DLC, or it's just a really weird thing that I've got. Like, sort of, unless it's there for me waiting when I've finished it.
So, Mr. Chazzy, would you care to sit down on the couch?
Yeah, exactly, exactly. It all stems back to when I was 5, and.
But surely, Chazzy, the games like that don't really die, because I mean, I think I've had hours and hours. I think it's the game that I've played most in my whole gaming life. It's because it's just so much. There's so much to do. I mean, I've platinumed it and played it like 3 or 4 times over. The story, I mean, but you can spend hours and hours on that. Surely you can't get bored of it.
No, it's not. It's not being bored. It's weird. It's because I play a lot of like story games, like and the way I play through a game. Once I've hit it, I will play through the story, and then once I hit the end of it, it's kind of like when you watch a film, that's the end of that kind of that narrative or whatever, that story, and then to me that's it over, and it's
You're the person that stands up in front of me in the cinema when the credits start.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And that's it. It's over and it's done, and I've walked away from it, and I've got what I wanted out of it. Yeah. And going back to it seems really... Going back to a game and replaying it, and then replaying it again and replaying it again is a really weird concept for me to get my head round.
But then
and I know lots of people love doing it. Yeah, but that's the thing, is it's one of those ones where it's kind of like... I don't know. Like I said, to me, it's just there's the cut-off point. That's that game. That goes in the box, and then I'm moving on to the next one. And I know that a lot of people... Like, for a lot of people, like you say, the DLC comes out and it rejuvenates a game and really kind of, makes it completely fresh again. So,
especially in the case of Undead Nightmare, that's a whole new single-player game plus extra multiplayer.
Yeah, totally. Yeah, it's a weird one. It's like all the Rockstar games, like the Ballad of Gay Tony and all that kind of stuff as well. Like, it's one of those things where it's just a really weird mental block that I have. I mean, I'm sure I'm probably not alone, but I'm sure there's a lot more people that actually will go back and kind of, play through the experience again with the DLC,
I can see your point where, like, say if you're paying a $5 or 15 minutes extra worth of missions, that maybe that's not.
Yeah, I suppose it depends how long or short it is. I suppose it's like I always say, like the Mass Effect ones always seem a little bit too short for me. But like you say, the Rockstar ones actually, they are a whole almost other new game. Yeah, or even the one that
in some cases changing the physics, like Lost in the Damned and Ballad of Gay Tony have both got different physics systems. That's like,
wow. Right, really?
Yeah. So
I didn't know
that. But it reminds me of, remember when, Total Conversions on the PC, either of you, where you could like convert a game, like say you had Doom and you could suddenly change all of the characters over, and even though you're just putting other sprites in the game, but it just reminds me of like modding, but Rockstar are now modding their own games to
like official modding.
Yeah, official mods.
Fair enough.
That's the way forward.
So should we get into a bit of what we've been playing then this week?
Yeah, let's do that.
Who wants to start?
I think our guest should go first.
Yes.
Do you?
I have to.
Put you on the spot.
I thought it'd be rude not to. Oh no, is it rude to ask him? We don't know the form here. See, so.
Exactly.
Well, I've been trying a huge variation of games. I've got a long list. I've been trying the free games that PSN have kindly given their subscribers games that I didn't have on disc, but I've downloaded. The first one, I think, Little Big Planet 2, which I played one and finished it and quite enjoyed it and thought I'd give this one a go. And I haven't played much because there's been so much to get through, but I've had a go on that, which I think, everybody knows what that's like, so there's not much to say there. But it's new, it's nice, it's fun. I've been checking out some new levels that people have made, and it looks good.
That's the thing. Every minute that you're not playing it, there is more to play of that game.
Yeah,
so.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just I want to create a level, but I just really don't know if I have the patience to sit down and put all those little blocks and stuff and things in order, or whether just spend that time creating a level and then just to find out that it's shit. And I'm so scared that.
And by then, 1,000 new levels have been put up by people that have been doing it for 3 years. So it's like,
exactly.
I could have just downloaded those in that time.
Yeah, so rather than waste time creating my own, I prefer to play others.
If you could make a level, what would its theme be?
Theme? Yeah. Food.
Yeah, nice.
Food.
Excellent.
I mean, I also had a go with throwing the cakes in Little Big Planet 2, where there's a level where you get to throw cakes around and jump on them, and I absolutely love that. I mean, I'm not a big fan of throwing food, but I love food in games when there's always like cakes or
RoboCod
or
with
something.
cakes and penguin bars and
Yeah. So when whenever there's a food level or something like this in it, I'm always intrigued to see what you can do or how you can play around with the food, and especially in a game.
exclusive
You'd
here.
love-
Joey Calvo loves Zool with Chupa Chups.
Do you know what? That's exactly what I was going to say. That's so weird. That's so weird.
And yet, that's subliminal advertising at the very best on behalf of Chupa Chups. Like, they paid for that advert in 1991 in an Amiga game, which must have cost them nothing, and yet still, like, nearly 30 years later, we're talking about it.
Two old geeks still remember it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. Well, to be funny enough, Chupa Chups is a Spanish company, and it's one of my favourite gaming snacks. I sometimes have. I think I've mentioned this on Last I've Loaded. I think this conversation was with Ratso when he was asking me about the old gaming snack, and I said, Chupa Chups for me are just brilliant because it's just sweet on a stick.
And also, as you said, you don't have to get your fingers dirty or anything, do you?
So, no, it's brilliant and it's perfect. And you can eat 4 or 5 and not feel guilty, like eating 4 or 5 packs of Jaffa cakes or whatever, which we don't have over here.
Anything you can eat where you don't take your hands off the controller is always good.
Yeah,
it's great.
A horse strapped to the sofa. That always works.
Fair enough.
You get way more flavours of Chupa Chups in Spain than we do here, don't you?
Yeah. We've got now. They've brought out. I don't know if you have them over back in the UK, but they've brought out Chupa Chups with chewing gum in the middle. So they've got like bubble gum in the middle.
Yeah, I think I've seen those, but I don't know if that was on holiday or not. Yeah.
They're really delicious. They're really nice.
The coffee one. Do you like the coffee one?
No, you see, the coffee's my least favourite. I love the watermelon one. Watermelon, and they also, because they have got fruity flavours and milky flavours. And the fruity flavours are sort of like really sort of like mango and stuff, and the milky flavours are sort of like mixed with things like caramel, ice cream, strawberries and cream, sort of all that sort of. I was going to say genre.
Yeah, that genre of dessert.
Exactly.
Everyone will know what you mean. It's
all that variety of flavour.
Exactly. I can see that this is going to be a nightmare for me to try and keep this on games. You know that.
Yeah, or like the tags in iTunes. Chupa Chups.
Yeah. Chupa Chups, donuts, Little Big Planet,
RoboCod.
Exactly. RoboCod.
Can we change the title to the Grub Bots or something like that?
Exactly.
Yeah. So Chupa Chups are my favourite gaming snack. They're great. Good fun.
Superb. So Dan, what have you been playing?
I've been playing Sonic Generations. I think I spoke about that. I wanted to play it quite a long time ago, and everyone was saying it's the game that breaks the Sonic cycle. Where Sega say, "Sorry, we've learned from our mistakes in the past. The next 3D Sonic game is going to be great," and then everyone gets their hopes up, and then no, it's just another Sonic game. Sake. And then Sonic Generation, it does get it right. It's it makes my head hurt from how it looks. Like, do you remember Green Hill Zone, where it's like in 2D that moves incredibly quickly, and it's all a bit of a blur. Now, imagine playing that level with the perspective shifted behind Sonic, And
Oh, blimey.
Oh.
it's like, wow, this is like a headache in a box, but in a good
So
way.
is it kind of? I know it's like spanning obviously old Sonic and new Sonic and sort of smashing them together.
Yeah.
But is it kind of like old Sonic is 2D, new Sonic is 3D, and it kind of
And
you
never
know,
the
you
twain
just
shall
jump
meet.
between the two.
Yeah, every level you can choose between playing as old or new Sonic. And
Okay.
new Sonic will move into 2D maybe for like 10-20% of the level. And the
Right.
rest is all seen as a third-person perspective. And then old Sonic is what you'd expect.
Yeah. So essentially, you haven't played the same level twice for the two different characters.
Yeah, but it's not the same level. Thematically,
Similar.
it looks the same.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the actual design of the level is entirely different.
All right,
But
cool.
it's like seeing things that you remember from the old games. Suddenly, wow, I'm running into this, and I remember this exact moment. And it reminds you that as a kid, you didn't realize it was side-on. You felt like you were doing that. And it's, I don't know, it just brings back this really odd nostalgia of a game that didn't exist at the time, but they've made a new game feel like your memory of it. It's really smart stuff. I love it.
One of the perfect examples, then I think you'll probably relate to this as well, because I played it. I've got it too, and the bit that got me was, in the first level, as you're saying in Green Hill, you're running around and there's like this loop where you have to go really quite quickly. Well, you do it, but that perspective where you actually see Sonic, from just above his head, in front of you, going through that loop, and you see that it's actually, it's like a hollow sort of round, and then you see him running up, and just the whole screen in 3D just completely flips.
It's like heart in your mouth, kind of butterflies moment, isn't it? Yeah, it's
totally. And I think it got me. I was like, hang on a minute, how is this switching from 2D to 3D? That's so clever, so clever.
Especially as it's like I say, Chazzy, it's not exactly the same levels as you remember, but there's enough sort of tropes of that level to make you think, this is what it actually was back in the day. It's
like you say, thematically, it sort of drags you back.
Yeah,
but keeping it fresh.
Yeah, permanently as well. Like, even the storyline is very sort of breaking the fourth wall about like old Sonic can't tell new Sonic, like, as he doesn't talk, he can't sort of explain how, like, no, your new games aren't like my old games. It's kind of this weird sort of a storyline that very much is like Sega doing what I suppose the fans would want, and yet ironically a lot of the fans would hate. So I'm a bit of an OCD gamer, but also I've got a very low attention span. But this has all these challenge levels where you can unlock new artwork and music and what have you by doing these like very short burst arcade style levels. So I think I'm going to be sucked into this like a mother. It's
superb.
It's just kind of everything that I've ever wanted from a Sega game, and we've spoken about how they've let us down quite a lot in the past few years, and this is they're back on track. I know that it's going to be a one-off, but so did you enjoy the whole game?
Yeah, well, I'm playing it. I haven't finished it because I'm playing it with my nephew. I remember playing, the original Sonic, and it's sort of, as you say, brought a new perspective to it, because I remember playing the original one, and now suddenly seeing this in 3D has really completely sort of knocked me for six. But my nephew's like 9 years old, and we're sort of going through it together and playing a level each, so it doesn't get too challenging. But we're finding that some of the levels later on are quite really, really hard. I mean, for both of us, so we've had to go through it 5 or 6 times each, and still not achieved it. So I haven't finished it, but I can see that it's getting really challenging, and hopefully, I mean, I want to do all the levels like you say, so I can unlock all the pictures and stuff, and all the.
I want that music. That's what I want.
That's locked.
It's all of those tunes. Please unlock them. Please unlock them. I tried the Konami code and it didn't work.
Yeah, you were hoping for a sound test in the options somewhere. Yeah.
So I mean, I'd really like to unlock everything too. So, but I don't know. It's just it's like a game that looks like it could be on for hours and hours and hours, just non-stop. And there's so much to play. I don't know if I'm going to spend that much time on it, or dedicate as much time as I want to. Because I mean, Sonic for us older gamers is really sort of a game in the past. It's one of the first games that I remember playing. When I had a
also,
Mega
it's a little
Drive,
tainted as a franchise in a lot of people's minds, isn't it? So
yeah. So I think I like the spin that they've given to it, given it, and really it's a nice, innovative way of improving an older game. So Yeah, I'm all for it. I love Sonic, but I don't know if it's a game that I'd sort of want to play again, as it were. I'm doing it because of my nephew, of course, but if I'd been playing alone, I don't think I would have probably got that
fair
far.
point. Kids love Sonic, don't they? It seems to be one of those things that doesn't date.
Yeah.
They can even play the old Mega Drive games
Yeah.
and still they think it's a fresh new game, which is quite strange. I suppose it's the character. I suppose the same as with Mario games, that the character and the design of the time is good enough to hold strong. So yeah.
And they've added new people in there, because I don't remember having some of the characters that are in it now. I can't remember the name. Some of them have been designed for this one, but not appeared in the older ones. Well, not the ones that I had anyway. I had the first Sonic, but there's some new stuff. I mean, Dr. Robotnik's, is it?
Robotnik,
in there. Yeah, he's in there, and there's a few others. But you've got hang on, what's the guy? I can't remember. The Sonic is blue. What's the one that's black?
Shadow.
Yeah, Shadow. That's it. He wasn't in the original game, so he's a nice different character to play with, and they're always fun to explore their
I love
traits as
one
well.
bit in those sort of, they're almost Pixar-style cutscenes where Sonic's finished the first level and he says to Tails, "That place seemed really familiar," but obviously Tails wasn't in it until Sonic 2, and he's like, "No, it doesn't ring any bells to me." And it's like, well, no, of course it wouldn't. It didn't exist for that game. It's like, wow, that's...
Yeah, sorry, mate, I wasn't there. I don't know, yeah. Maybe.
So I'm hoping the story's full of
Wasn't
all
born
sorts
then.
of those, like, hang on, like, that's a really smart joke for a kid's game.
Yeah. That's why I think it's not probably really aimed at kids. I think it's more sort of for the older gamers like us that have been through it. And it's nice because it's good when a game does that to revive. I mean, the Metal Gears have done it, and lots of other franchises have done it to try and sort of bring back or twig that memory that you've got of the older game and try to, you know, maybe say some funny, witty line with a bit of the gamer's memory. And but I think it's nice. It's nice. It's a nice game, and if no one's really played it, then like you, Dan, I reckon they'd enjoy it. If they know the old Sonic franchise as it was before, this is just even to see it.
Yeah, if you've never played a 3D Sonic game, then give it a go.
Yeah, it's nice to hear some actual positive words about Sonic games. Because it's like, you know, you always hear, oh, Sonic, oh, whatever. But it's actually really nice to hear, you know, two guys talking about it in such glowing terms, man. It's wicked.
Yeah, especially two people that probably should be too jaded and cynical, like to. Do you know what I mean? For the amount of times that Sega and Sonic have let people down over the years, to have us talking so glowingly, it's quite strange, isn't it?
Yeah, exactly. It's nice.
What have you been playing yourself, man?
Me. Of course it's me. Why do I always say that? So, anyway, yes.
One day you're going to say that and someone's going to go, "No, me."
No, me. Where did that voice come from? Yeah, so, what I've been playing this week, I've been really, really lucky. Through my work, I got access to go to see the new Wii U at their E3 event.
Do you work as a spy or a ninja or something?
Yes,
Nice.
both, actually. Yeah, spy. They call me Spy Ninja.
You are an 80s arcade game.
Yeah, exactly. Came out just after Shinobi. So I managed to get my hands on it, and I was really quite impressed actually.
Nice. I'm quite jealous of you.
Yeah, no, it was quite nice. Picking up that sort of gamepad was, like, I was expecting to be this big hulking like bit of kit, and what it ended up turning out being, it was a lot smaller than I expected, but like a lot more comfortable. And just like I found myself like playing on these games and kind of having to learn something completely new, because you know, as like gamers, you sort of pick up a controller and go, right, left stick, right stick, right, the button on the right always does this, button on the left sort of always does this kind of thing, and you kind of know your way around as a kind of inherently learned thing over years of playing games. But with this is a whole new skill set to learn, because I found myself that because you got the two screens, I was gravitating to either one screen or the other, and a lot of games were like kind of getting you to use both screens at the same time, and it was kind of really like having to teach my brain to kind of go, right, okay, keep looking at the top screen, because I was always looking at the pad in my hands, because like you know, through being taught with the PSP and the DS, you look down at your hands if you've got like a screen in your hands, you know. So having to kind of like train my brain to go, no, look at the top screen, and then occasionally peek down to the bottom, not the other way around, not look at the bottom screen all the time and then look up. But yeah, I found like other people were having the reverse effect as well. But it was really, really interesting, kind of sort of having to retrain my brain for a new thing.
At least it's a new challenge, isn't it? For like pretty much anyone, it's going to be like
totally
something difficult to get your head around in it. Like
Yeah, totally, yeah. But it did. There was like I played a lot of demos there, and there was a lot of kind of interesting gameplay stuff that we're doing, like playing with the two screens. Like I was playing that game that you were really interested, which was that Project P100.
Yeah.
Who's the guys
It's
that
made
made
by
that?
Platinum Games, the developers of Bayonetta.
Yeah, I was going to say it was
Yeah.
Platinum. Yeah. And it's like kind of a Katamari and Pikmin sort of smashed into one, with like lots of crazy stuff added on top of it. And but what was really interesting about it was you kind of go around this isometric world, punching and kicking stuff, and like taking out these massive bosses that are like bigger than the screen. And but then when you go into a building, like you obviously can't see yourself and your group of like people that follow you around, helping you beat these monsters. What it does is once you go into an interior of a building, the bottom screen becomes like a 3D platformer of the interior of the building. So you can look around and kind of jump around and pick stuff up that's in the building or find hidden objects, stuff like that. And then once you walk out of that building on the bottom screen, you then switch to the top screen and you're back out into the world. Yeah. So it was really nice. Like they're using it in really interesting ways, you know? Yeah, it was really, really, really good. But yeah, I mean, I got to play like lots of stuff. Like there was Nintendo Land, and there was lots of mini games. You know, I played on the old. There was the one where they throw the ninja stars. That was quite good. And Luigi's Ghost Mansion used that bottom screen. You play as the ghost, and then one of you plays as the ghost on the bottom screen, so you can see everyone on the bottom screen plus your ghost character. But everyone on the top screen can't see the ghost, but can see everyone else.
Did you get to play both roles?
Yes, I did.
And was it equally fun playing both?
Oh yeah. It was very, very, very fun. You know, it was very much like sort of a Pac-Man versus type experience. But it was just nice that you can have 5 players all kind of hooked in on one device, like one machine, all playing together. It was quite interesting, man.
Until you get kids involved, and they'll say, "No, you're not playing on the touch screen," and like,
yeah, exactly. Everyone fighting over the gamepad, you know. But yeah, I mean, but as an overall experience, I was actually quite pleasantly surprised by it. So really interested to see now, like what they do with it and where it sort of goes in the future. But it was really like I said, I was sort of came out of it, and I just felt really lucky that I'd been able to get a go on it early. Yeah, it was
Does
fantastic.
it feel about the size of like a sort of like one of those smaller Android tablets? Is it like that kind of size and feel?
Yeah, about that kind of size. Yeah. But it didn't feel like, because I was expecting it to feel quite wide and clunky and heavy, and it's not clunky at all. You know, it just feels like natural, like you would hold, like say, an Xbox or a PlayStation controller. It doesn't seem any. Once you get into a game, it doesn't register. You know, so that was quite.
It's
nice.
also again like Nintendo are permanently challenging about things. Like as much as they seem like a safe, casual company, they like to challenge developers, like they did with the Wii controller. And there's always been a sort of quest to make the pad invisible in the player's hands, whereas this is forcing it to be quite the opposite of that.
Oh yeah,
totally. I mean, there's been pride in making it so that people can ignore the pad, and now it doesn't give that option. Is that I don't know if it's a good or bad thing, but it's an interesting thing certainly to see where that's going to be taken.
Exactly. So so Joe, I mean, have you got any like sort of views on the Wii U and like sort of the upcoming consoles? You know, like from what you've heard.
From the Wii U, look, from what you've said just now, I mean, I'm not. We don't know a lot about it, or I don't know much about it because I've never been much of a Wii fan, really, to be honest. I don't own a Wii, but I have an Xbox and a PS3. But I've certainly played on one and had, hours of fun, one Saturday afternoon when everyone's completely rat-arsed and, in front of a television screen. I'll be interested to see what this does and what sort of games come to this sort of console. What other type of games did you have a look at? I mean, sports games and stuff would be quite difficult to interact with the thing in your hand, isn't it, really? I mean,
yeah.
Isn't it sort of like more keeping your eyes away, more on the screen? You get distracted by what's in front of you. Isn't that going? Or maybe it's because we're not used to it. I don't know.
Well, this is the thing is, I think it was more something that I wasn't used to, and I think I would learn and grow with, than it was something that was kind of inherently, game breaking or a bad user experience, if you know what I mean. I think it was, I think like I can see lots of, if you're playing sort of a Madden or a FIFA, it'd be really interesting to be able to, just on the fly, look down at the bottom screen and change your formations and stuff. Or, I think there's going to be some really interesting, looking at it, having played it now, there's going to be some really interesting uses of that pad, to kind of bring an experience that you've not necessarily had before, which you don't get a lot nowadays. You sort of kind of know what you're going to get with a lot of the consoles nowadays.
Maybe in a racing game or something, like using the screen at the bottom as your rear view mirror. So you can
totally, exactly.
You or
exactly.
Or maybe using it to change certain controls and your.
It was like with I was played that Zombie U, and being able to come into a room and you hold the pad up to the screen, and then you're scanning the room with the pad in front of you for looking for evidence and stuff like that. Was really it was unusual, but kind of it was a really cool. It felt really natural, You just sort of spinning around and look, there's something over there, and zooming into it, and it was just kind of like something you've never done before.
Also, as you say, with Madden and FIFA, third parties I think are going to realise that maybe the bottom screen can be used simpler than in these party games. You can use it to choose your tactics and have it just as an options menu or like your inventory and slightly more simple.
I mean, it can be something as basic as that, or it could be something basic as that, or something as completely crazy as like you say with that Project Pier 100, where you go into a building, into an interior of a building, and it completely changes the game on the bottom screen. I think there's a wide range of stuff that it's going to be able to do, but it's just whether developers can harness that. But look, go on.
No, I was going to say, it would be interesting to see if Sony and Microsoft pick up on this and see if they can sort of make a new sort of move, because they certainly looked at we have Move and we have Connect and stuff like this, basically on what was essentially sort of some Wii idea.
Yeah.
And Nintendo, the way they tried to sort of put it out on the market, and they've sort of been not copied because they are different applications, but they've had some sort of influence in the way we're playing games now. Certainly this is the way forward, to have a screen in front of you or two screens in front of you. Look at the PS Vita, for example. That's something else that can also be used with the machine, in the same room and used as a different screen, totally. to interact with another game. So I think this is probably the way forward, of having some sort of double screen, as you say, to help enhance the player's experience of a game differently, or to make him able to see. Yeah. I mean, the idea that you mentioned a moment ago about, scanning a room for things like this. Can you imagine the applications that you can use in a game like CSI or something like this to try and scan the room for fingerprints or
an LA Noire or something like that?
Well, no, because Cole, you'd be sort of trying to hit Cole with the screen, wouldn't you? Really?
Yeah, I suppose. Yeah. It'd just be screaming at you all the time for no reason. Yeah,
you'd just be pointing your fingers at Cole through the screen to see if can you see that? You git. Yeah.
Doubt.
No, but on a more serious note, I think it's going to change the face of really how we interact with games in the future, and certainly this double screen idea is going to be something that I think other developers and other people are going to be.
Smart Glass is a kind of step towards that, isn't it? I know it's not going to do quite the same thing. But again, it shows that they're kind of on the back foot about it, at least, doesn't it? So.
Yeah, but it's interesting to see they're jumping on the bandwagon and kind of dipping a toe in the water just in case it does explode.
I think everyone will be watching to see what sort of reaction this gets, and then jumping on the bandwagon and saying it was their fantastic idea, or developing it differently.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
If it doesn't take off, then maybe perhaps they'll knock it on the head and leave it for some other developer to improve or to change or something like this. But certainly, it's interesting. I'm quite intrigued to see, and I'd love to have a go on one. But yeah, well, I mean, I'm waiting for the opportunity.
Exactly. Well, one day, mate, maybe I can have a word with some people and see if we can fly you over and get you involved in a.
It's going to be a Eurogamer, isn't it? Blatantly.
Yeah, that's it. Eurogamer. Yeah, that's where I'm going to be. Yeah.
Oh, superb. Well, we'll definitely have to. What I'll do is I'll make sure I'm there when you're on the Wii U, and I'll be over your shoulder like going, "Yeah, did you like it? Did you like it? You remember when we talked about it?"
Or just play me the clip in the podcast. That's all.
Exactly. A little cut.
Yeah, exactly. Do you remember when you said this?
I can prove it.
Exactly. Yeah. Right. So, is that everything that everyone's been playing?
I think that's pretty much me covered. But Joey's probably got.
Cool. So, how do you feel about going to a break?
Joey said he's got a long list, but that could be as long as your arm, and I'm sure you want to save stuff for last save loaded.
Exactly.
Well, I mean, not yet, because we're on a season break, so it'll be a while before we get to chat. But no, I just wanted to ask you guys about whether you downloaded the games on the PSN, the free games that were the ones I mentioned about earlier. What games you got and what you thought of the ones that you've downloaded so far. What did you get?
I don't have a PS3.
Yeah, exactly. You're talking to two very un-PlayStation-y type people. Not for any particular reason that we don't think it's any good, but it's one of those things where I sort of buy most things on the Xbox. And the PlayStation is kind of a more of an exclusives and stuff like that.
Right.
Whereas I know Dan doesn't have one as well. So if we ever want to play together, it's kind of Xbox led anyway. So I know you've got the Vita,
and
haven't you, Dan?
hopefully PS Plus is going to be on there in the next couple of months.
Yeah,
What I hear.
yeah, exactly. Well, you got a bit lucky with that,
did,
didn't
yeah.
you, mate?
I won a copy last week. I won one of the E3 codes from the. Sony gave everyone in the room a code, but a journalist, Dan Shu, he used to be editor of Electronic Gaming Monthly, the big American, their equivalent of CVG. And he was just giving it away on Twitter, and yay, I won the lottery. So I've got it, but I don't have a PS3. But that's kind of given me the kick up the arse to maybe start saving for a PS3. So yeah.
So what were the other games then, Joe, that were on PS Plus?
Well, there were a series of games on PS Plus. There was Little Big Planet 2. There was Motorstorm Apocalypse, which I've also got, which is also very good.
Mm-hmm.
Renegades was on
Was
there.
there Darksiders on there? Is that why everyone started talking about that for a while?
Darksiders was on there. Yeah, I'm down. Problem is, it's a bit of a big, bulky download. I think it's like 10 gig.
Oh.
But you have to really be careful with your hard drive. I found, I've got a 300 and something, 320 gigabyte PS3, but slim. But most of it's full with stuff like saves and old games that I want to sort of like Dead Space. I want to go back and play again and just keep those old saves there just for reference and stuff. And so I've had to delete a lot of that and lose a lot of the old games that I don't play anymore just to clear some space to get some of this in. But it is a bit of a big pack to put onto your PS3's hard drive. So you really, I feel sorry for those people that have got like 40 gigs and 80 gigs or the old.
Sony have raised their game this month.
There's
as
some
well.
people really
the amount of stuff on PS Plus is like.
Yeah.
I
originally wasn't going to sign up, but I just thought, I signed up last year just because I saw, that Jake and Justin and a few other people that were looking at the offers, and they seemed quite good. Games that are a little bit cheaper, and I recommend it because if Sony bring out deals like this every now and then certainly there are some fantastic games. I mean, Little Big Planet 2. It's an oldish game, but old. Lots of people know it, but it's not something that's expensive in any game shop now, but you can certainly have it on your disc.
Also, it's one of those gifts that keeps on giving, isn't it? It's
It's those type of games that gamers really
and they
want
won't
to have.
date in many senses. Like, in terms of the amount of content and gameplay you get, they're not going to date, are they? It's going to keep on getting better and better. So
yeah, the idea is that these are games that you really want on your hard drive. You don't really want to take them off because you know that you're going to come back to them again. And I'm really happy that I've never had a chance to play LBP2, but I want to. And now I don't even have to get up and put the disc in.
Do you think Microsoft are going to have to do something similar with this? Are they going to have Xbox Live Platinum or something like that to compete? Or
with the way they've structured kind of gold and silver, there doesn't seem to be any real benefit to having either now. It used to be that gold you would get demos and stuff and access early to stuff, but now it kind of just seems to be, you can play with your mates.
Yeah,
give us
you
40
get the
quid.
deals of the week, but it's not the same as PS Plus, which is
actually giving you free games to play for a locked out period of time. That is, they've got to move into that into the new console.
Fingers crossed. Surely. Especially you're going to have stuff like on live, and maybe not on live itself, but like Gaikai or other streaming services that are going to be offering that as a permanent, almost a Netflix option where you pay a certain amount a month to play whatever games you want. So yeah, Microsoft, pull your fingers out.
Yeah, I think it'll start the war.
Yeah, it's going to be like a war of content, isn't it? Like, who has the best and can offer it the quickest, the fastest, and the cheapest? Hopefully. Yeah.
You're right. You're right. I think they've ignited a war between them again now because they're just Sony doing this I think they're trying to make up ground because they sort of fell out a bit with their with the
big
mistake
hack last year.
When they were hacked. And I think they're trying to give something back to us. So I guess it's a little sort of a good gesture on their behalf to try and get gamers back on their side. But Microsoft, I think, are going to try and counteract that somehow. I don't know how, but I'm sure they'll come up with something.
The PS Plus could save the Vita as it stands. It's Sony's one big chance.
Yeah.
If they can pull that off, then maybe the Vita's got a chance. But it's a timing issue, isn't it, I think? But
it's also a really nice bit of kit, which I'm very tempted to buy, but I'm not really tempted by what's available, in games-wise. And if it does, as you say, come to PSN, then I will certainly look at it because, being a PSN member and knowing that Sony are willing to sort of give their gamers, their sort of people that us basically who buy games on these machines, the chance to be able to play older games and maybe digital versions, not the full version, but at least have that on your drive to say, yeah, I'm going to go back and play this for a bit. I don't have to put a disc in. I'm going to use my Vita, and it always leads you more towards playing handhelds than it is to actually using the games on the screen. Certainly when you go away, and you sort of might be wondering, might be thinking that then really that the PS Vita is a bit of kit that's going to cause some real sort of excitement amongst gamers in the future. If they do,
fingers crossed. Yeah,
this is what we've been saying for since we started, that if the Vita was supported well enough, it would sell gangbusters. It's just that it's just such an odd situation. You've got an amazing piece of kit with no games. It just doesn't make any sense. I just can't understand it.
It's a cycle that usually works where a new machine comes out and sells quite well, and then the developers jump on board. But with this one, there hasn't been that initial sort of sales burst. So the developers, I think, are holding off and going, well, hang on, should we sort of downgrade this a bit for the 3DS rather than, like, we can make it cheaper for ourselves and sell a shed load more on the 3DS? So, awkward one.
The 3DS has really done well. I mean, from what I've been hearing and from what everyone said, it's also a nice bit of kit to take to game on. But as you say, Chesy, I think that the PSN, they've made this mistake with the PSP, where they didn't have, the discs, and it was always a problem with content and moving it from one side to the other, and whether I can play the stuff on the PSN and download it. Yeah. And I think they've made this mistake before, and it'd be a hell of a shame if they make the same mistake again with a handheld and don't really support it as much as they do.
Exactly.
Well, I hope they don't. I'm really sort of hoping I was hoping that this, E3, that they sort of bring up, the old, bells and whistles and really give
give it a big push.
But that doesn't seem to have happened. So maybe they're waiting for the next opportunity to launch a big game. Maybe they say there's lots of good content coming to it as well. There's some fantastic.
The problem is your one big opportunity is E3, isn't it?
That's about it.
I know you've got the Tokyo Game Show, but
maybe Eurogamer.
Oh yeah, there's Eurogamer, but it's not going to have the same kind of impact that if they'd announced, a raft of amazing games. But
yeah, I mean, Sony's conference was a bit bland this year from all the feedback that I've been looking at, and it's not been really about the Vita at all, which is last year was all the excitement, all the hype around it was just fantastic because you were just sort of waiting for this machine to come out in February and you were just, itching to get your fingers on it. And now that sort of little sort of shine has gone, and it's sort of set me back a little bit by take a step back and say, oh, do I really want one of those? I mean, it's still expensive. It's a nice bit of kit, but it's still expensive and way too pricey. So maybe if they can sell it a bit more and give it a bit of love and attention, I'm sure they'll get some massive sales on it and probably be the real big competitive handheld against the 3DS and all the other systems. Maybe something else.
I think that's a shout from all of us. Please, Sony, just give the Vita a little bit of love.
Yeah,
exactly.
You've got to.
One thing I was going to ask you, I know in your last episode you were saying about you had Game in Hell and you were going to put whether you were going to put E3 into it, and I think you managed to save it, if I remember rightly.
Talking about the hype,
the hype and stuff. So has that now been revisited? Now you've seen what's happened at this E3 and kind of.
Good question. I don't know. I think the idea that the hype around E3 is always, because I think I said this on the last episode, that we all as gamers expect to see the next best thing and the good things that are going to come to our hobby, and the hype around it has to exist, otherwise there just wouldn't really be anything there. And so a lot of the time, what E3 represents is just the whole shop window of the industry, where we can all as gamers sort of sit down and just absolutely gobsmacked look at what's coming and what games we're going to be playing in the future. But nothing is more frustrating when you see it or you go to an event like this and you see it as glossy and shiny, but then it doesn't happen. That really is frustrating. I don't think I'd put E3 into Game in Hell.
Also, E3 is hype personified, isn't it? If that's what it's all about. The kind of peacock strutting around the yard, isn't it? So.
Exactly, and each one takes that hype to their own degree, as Jake rightly said. Everyone sort of, you can take it or leave it in your own degree. But I think that to have such a massive show and not really turn up for it, as in the case of Sony and Microsoft this year, was a bit of
it was phoned in,
for
wasn't
all
it?
of us.
Yeah.
I think it is that opportunity, that the only chance that we get to see what's coming in the industry. And as gamers, we love to see the next best thing, whether it's the PS4, the Xbox 720, whatever. But it's always nice to have that little glimmer of hope just before something big hits. And I'm afraid the fuse is sort of a bit damp this time.
One of them could have pulled it out of the bag with a big surprise about a next-gen console. One of them, knowing the other wasn't going to, should have played at least like the people say Nintendo did it wrong last year by doing a pre-announcement. But one of them could have really played a trump card and saved E3 with just a hint, just showing that Unreal 4 engine or something like that, and saying, by the way, this is what will be possible. Like, stay tuned for next year's E3 and we'll tell you more. But, here you go.
But I think then one of the things is that the internet moves so quickly, and of course you're already sparking off some rumours, about something that's possible, and people are going to start, doing these fake videos of what's coming next and what's happening next. So I think a lot of this is just to avoid all that, to say, look, we've got nothing. Yes, we're working behind the scenes on producing something really good, but we don't want you to turn around.
That's a fair point.
Yet.
Yeah.
Maybe it's all about timing, which is another important factor in all this, where you're thinking, I want to get the moment. I want to see what my competitor does first. I want to see what they bring up first. And then when the moment that they have an idea or a glimmer of an idea, I'm going to strike. But it's just a waiting game for them as much as it is for us, really. And it just when it breaks, and we all know it's going to happen, because we're just begging for the next gen at the moment, because there are games on there that really, really. I mean, for example, you were talking about Watch Dogs on your previous episode, and I remember seeing a clip of the gameplay in this, and it's just absolutely amazing. But I'm just thinking that would fit so well on a PS4. That would just be absolutely brilliant, because I think the PC could do it. And just the water, I mean, you go back and you see that video and you just see the water in the images as you walk through the city, the crashes, the fire, the lights, the sounds, everything. You're thinking, God, can my PS3
do I want it at
really
30 frames a second, or do I
exactly.
want this looking perfect on my next console? Yeah.
Exactly.
Or are they showing us a glimpse of the future that we don't know about, and they're just not saying it?
I've seen a few hints at that from journos about that game. So yeah.
Yeah, I mean, maybe that's the game that as they put it up on the PC, and that's a glorified version of it. Because I mean, we've seen videos before E3 of games that are going to be absolutely fantastic, but they no way graphically approach the same.
Oh, it's like the old Killzone. The old Killzone thing of putting up a target render and saying, "Oh yeah, this is running on PlayStation 3" and that kind of thing.
Seeing as it kind of makes sense, I know we usually do the show in two halves, but seeing as this is going to fit right in, it would have been something in the news, but Microsoft aren't going to be at Gamescom or the Tokyo Game Show this year, so I'm wondering if that's a hint that they know that Sony are maybe going to do something at TGS, maybe,
or maybe it's the fact that the Xbox doesn't sell tons.
In Japan, it doesn't, but Gamescom, that's a big thing not to go to, isn't it, for Europe? Europe's premier.
Oh, sorry, is that Europe?
Yeah,
sorry,
no, Gamescom is the one in Germany.
Oh, okay, I thought you were talking about Japan.
It's not going to be at either, so I just wondered if that's any sign of when one of them's going to play their hand. But maybe I'm just hoping too much as a gamer that I just want someone to announce something, please.
I want announcements everywhere. I want so much hype; it's coming out of my eyeballs.
I think you're like me, Dan, and probably Jesse the same, where we're just sitting on tenterhooks, just waiting for the next big announcement, and we know it's going to come, but it's just a question of when, and we're all just hopeful that it'll be soon. But I think as far as some reports I've heard, they say that the PS3 and the Xbox is still still got a bit of life in it yet, and that there are games to come, some fantastic titles to come to it before even the next gen's even talked about or mentioned. I mean, so maybe that's where the next step in all this is. I mean, we're also saying that the next games are going to demand more from the machine, because I mean, graphically, you've seen if that is any an inkling of what's expected in the future of gaming now with the current gen that we have, and playing games like Watch Dogs, then really the machine, or my machine anyway, I think it's going to be pushed to its
You're going to have to pedal it under the table.
But yeah, I don't know, or put a new set of batteries in or something, or just plug it to the car or do something different to try and keep it running, because it'd be chugging away. And I don't know, as you say, the frame rate might suffer or things like this, which is why I think that games like this are best left alone. And, the idea that GTA 5 also is going to be bigger, better, prettier, nicer, more gameplay, bigger maps, etc., doesn't really fit into the same scope as a GTA 4 does on the current gen. I think it's something that needs to happen on a PS4.
It would certainly kick off the next generation, having a GTA game right at launch.
Certainly.
So.
Yeah, because we've had one on the previous gens. We've had every time there's been a launch, there's been a GTA title on there, and you always think that goes hand in hand with the next presentation. You launch a big console, big title. What's the big title? What's everyone been playing? What does everyone want to play? Well, it's either a Red Dead or, in my case, a Red Dead
some
or
kind
a
of
GTA.
Rockstar goodness.
So, that's like the little sort of cherry on the cake that goes along with the console. You pay £400 because there'll be extortionate prices, of course, at the beginning, but you get that extra little sort of glance of, I'm willing to spend that money because I know that I'm going to be playing GTA again. And that is a hell of an experience wherever Rockstar's concerned.
So there's one thing I wanted to ask you, Joey, was how do you feel about the Xbox coming out at like £99, and then you pay a subscription to pick it up for like a year or 2 years? As this new model for like picking up a new the new generation of consoles. Do you think that kind of mobile phone thing will work for consoles in the future?
Well, it's difficult to say, but I think it will. I think it will, funnily enough, because it works well to sort of get yourself into the gaming world. It's a cheap console, and you don't really look at it. It's much like the phone, as you've just rightly said. You get yourself a nice posh smartphone, and you worry about whether it's sort of getting yourself, whether it's tweeting and it's new and it's fashionable and it's nice and you're in with your friends and stuff, but you don't really look at the charges behind it. They're sort of like hidden, and so you're paying this monthly subscription to have these things and your bills and everything else, but you don't really look at how much you pay for each message. It's certainly a clever way and a new way. I think that these manufacturers are looking at sort of giving gamers their gaming fix, and it's certainly financially, I think it could work quite well for them. But
do you think it'll bring a lot more more casual people in because the price of it isn't prohibitive?
Yeah, I think that will be one of the, and maybe I don't know if the developers also latch onto it, see that they've got a bigger audience also to make games for. So maybe games will go up a notch as well. And I don't know, maybe this is another incentive for them to work for, because knowing that more people are going to be buying their games, they might make them a bit cheaper.
It's another cut down on the second-hand market as well, isn't it? Surely, like not only in games but in consoles as well. Like, are they going to be like it doesn't? Surely it doesn't belong to you after that point, so you can't take it to cash converters and trade it in for the next one up. So
it's going to have its collateral damage, no doubt, because shops like game is gone, but shops like second-hand video game shops and places like this are going to also be out of business. But then again, you've got a more sort of secure way of holding on to your fan base, let's say, to your gamers base, because you know that these people are going to be buying games on that console, and you know that you're going to be producing, a much bigger array of different consoles for the same. It's much the same as the mobile phone industry. Exactly. If you like iPhones and you've got an iPhone, you probably stick with it and not change. But it's just a more money producing method, really. And
it also perfectly fits the PS Plus model, doesn't it?
Yeah,
PS Plus plus a rented console. You're laughing. You've got games on tap on a rented console. So yeah, it could really work out well.
Yeah, it would work out. Certainly a good way to produce money, and they've certainly seen that the mobile phones do it because they produce enormous amounts of cash for their companies. But everyone's got one now, and I think that'll also increase. But I don't know if the people who don't take their consoles online are going to benefit much either. I mean, I don't know. Would you really want to have a rented console if you're not going to be playing online just at home, really? I mean, what would be the benefits of
it? Would possibly be one of those things where it doesn't even work if you're not signed in and online.
Oh, okay.
Well, that would maybe like on live or something where the streaming is part of the whole experience. But I'm only assuming or like casting assumptions.
Yeah, because that whole streaming thing sort of is always negated by the fact that broadband penetration in countries other than the United States and the UK and sort of Asian countries isn't actually that massive in other
areas
areas
even in the USA. It's it's not a very good rate of people that have got fast enough
Exactly.
broadband to support those
So
services. So.
You're locking out a massive chunk of a market. So it just that streaming thing, and that's great, but I just can't see how it can be sustainable until like broadband and internet technology catches up.
It's a bit like battery life and network infrastructure are kind of what's holding things back in a lot of ways, aren't they?
Oh yeah, totally.
They're quite simple problems in the grand scheme of things, as opposed to these people trying to throw more polygons on the screen. Two things that you think are like Victorian age problems are still holding us back.
Right, so shall we get to a break then, man?
Yeah, let's do that.
Yeah, you all right with that, Joey?
I'm fine with that.
Fantastic.
You're going to have a sangria? Go on.
I am. And a paella.
On the beach as well, just to rub it in.
You're actually recording this on the beach.
Exactly. You can hear the waves in the background.
Yeah. Music in the background, ladies walking past me in bikinis. Lovely.
Fantastic. Okay, right, ready?
Soon.
Break.
And we're back. And we're going to have a look at the gaming news, which is going to lead on to a bigger topic next week, but we're going to have to think about it this week. First one is the Wii U is going to have free-to-play games. Now that's not possible on Xbox. It is possible for Sony, but it's not possible for Xbox. So I'm wondering if this will show like a difference in strategy moving forwards.
So why isn't it available on Xbox, man?
Due to the way that Microsoft work their service, the marketplace just doesn't fit free-to-play games. They won't allow it. They say, they say it's for sort of technical reasons, but it's pretty much that Microsoft don't allow it.
They don't want to devalue the brand or something, yeah?
But
okay, fair enough.
But with them being the last ones in the corner, I mean, Apple are all over free-to-play. Sony have, I've played a free-to-play game on the Vita, and then with Nintendo going that way, Microsoft are going to really have to offer us something better, aren't they?
Yeah, definitely.
So, yeah, we're going to cover free-to-play a bit more broadly another time. But another sort of side of that story is that, in-app purchases where you buy, like you pay real-world money for something in a game. Mm-hmm. This Wednesday, they launched the real money auctions on Diablo 3. Now, there's been in-app purchases before, but this is different. It's sales from player to player. Now, is this a good or bad thing? I can't figure it out.
There's a word that comes straight into my mind when you just said that, Dan, and that's fraud.
Yes, totally.
Yeah. It's waiting to happen, isn't it, really? I mean, I'm just wondering how many people are going to get conned out of it and how long it's going to take them to take the service down.
Said it's a very robust service and they've upped their security, but they said the same about the Titanic, didn't they? So
yeah, they said that about Sony as well, didn't they? I mean,
yes.
I don't know. I'm just a bit sceptical about these things because I just feel that there's always an excuse for something to go wrong and that you're asking for trouble. Whether it's a good idea or not, yeah, it's great. These transactions sort of have a bit of more player contact and they can help to enhance your game and maybe, you can add things to this like different mods and sell them and, you get rewarded for any work that you put into it or stuff like this. But I just feel it's just an accident waiting to happen. I mean,
a nuclear-powered console might be a good idea, but it might cause more harm than good. Do you know what I mean? A good idea is not...
Yeah, don't put one in every home.
No, No.
Exactly.
Also, but as we said before, it's a bit like the Peter Molyneux app. There's going to be some kid who logs onto his dad's Diablo 3 account and buys some item worth like £250,000 or something.
Dad, I've sold everything in your chest. I've got you £3.50 for it.
But I've got some magic
That
beans.
was rare. That was a rare set of purple armour. Oh my god, it's taken me 6 years to collect all that. Oh, what have you done?
It happens nowadays, doesn't it? With the Apple games, you get these mini games that ask you to buy more coins for so and that, and kids who play these sort of things are unaware that obviously it's a bit silly to have a credit card directly linked to it, but sometimes it's inevitable because you need it. On something like
with
the App
iTunes
Store,
you have to
need it there permanently. But by accident more, I think it's more carelessness than anything else. Not keeping an eye on these things, where you just end up with huge debt. And I just think that a lot of people, especially these microtransactions, sometimes add up to quite a substantial amount of money. I mean, you're looking at huge figures, euros, pounds, whatever. And I think this is a big danger where kids and gamers and stuff are involved, because it's take the Steam sales for example. It's just one click and you've got like 70 games, at a good price. But what happens if those prices are sort of exploited or extortionate in some way and lead to other things? I'm always a bit wary about things like this. Maybe I'm just too cautious, but I don't know.
What happens if it's like, not that it's going to happen, but what if Valve went bust? Do your games still exist, or have you lost? Like, were you just renting them even though you were told you were buying them? It's
that license, that open license to play, as you mentioned before. Where you had that idea, you just have a license, and when the game goes, it goes.
It's a difficult one, isn't it?
Mm.
Like, have you guys, like Chazzy? You don't buy DLC, but then with New Star Soccer, you paid for in-app purchases in that. Like, where do you see the difference?
Yeah, see, that I saw as essentially just buying the game. That wasn't necessarily.
Oh, so you haven't gone and bought the extra kits and extra colours and that kind of thing, no?
No. That's the thing. That was the only one in-app purchase I made, was to unlock the rest of the game, essentially. But yeah, buying the pitches and the kits, and I understand that a lot of people have been saying, "Oh well, I've bought the kits and the pitches and stuff like that just to."
Because I thought it was worth more money than I paid for it. Kind of thing. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. and like I was listening to, like, not to piggyback on someone else's podcast, but the guys over at JoyPod interviewed the guy who developed that game, and he, like, after hearing him talk about his game and what he had to go through to get that game published and out there and so on and so forth, such a great story. You really do want to give that guy all your money, because he really does deserve it. So I think it's like I say, it's one of those weird situations where I don't think I'd buy the kits and stuff, not because I don't think it's worth it. It's just because, again, that's my kind of, I have a cut off and that's it. But I like the idea of in-app purchases, but like you say, I think they should be you should always make sure that you're keeping an eye on it.
Yeah, there shouldn't be a big flashing button for kids in Zynga games saying more levels here, and then suddenly it's
cutting into your game halfway through and then just saying buy X amount of coins, for X amount of money. It seems a little bit kind of nefarious. I think it will end up but
similar to like fast food advertising for kids, where they'll step in eventually and say, "Hang on, like, you can't have a big flashing thing that a kid doesn't realise it's costing money, that they're just going to press on and suddenly charge it to their dad's credit card."
It's weird. It's very Wild West though, isn't it? Because there's no kind of like governing body or like kind of authority to kind of like a standards agency to kind of look over this in such a way. Is there really? No. It's just they can do what they like. Really, it's only down to their kind of moral code that they're actually like kind of putting some kind of limitations on it.
I'm guessing it would be covered by one of the sort of standards authorities, but who knows which one? Would it be Ofcom or Oftel? Is it like telecommunications or is it communications? Like,
yeah, it's a grey area as far as I'm
uncharted waters, isn't it?
Yeah, totally, man.
Like,
totally. So what else we got then, man?
Thinking of authorities standing in the way of games, or like talking on behalf of games. Do you remember earlier in the year, a lot of gamers complained about the ending for Mass Effect 3?
Yes.
Now, no one knows where that's going to go in the States with regards. There's like court cases involved in the States, which is maybe a step too far. But over here, the Advertising Standards Authority have said that they support Electronic Arts' claim that they didn't lie about the ending.
Right. So what was the actual, the furore about this all?
The wording used by EA seems to hint that every decision you made in the game would affect the ending.
Okay. So if you went down one path, you'd get one completely different ending. If you went down another path, you'd get a totally different ending, and so on and so forth.
Across the 3 games, that's kind of how they made it sound like it was going to be.
Right.
Now, thinking realistically, we know a game can't be like that. You can't have...
No, there'd be so many
you can't have
strands to
infinite
kind of
endings.
pull together. You'd be off into so many crazy different connotations of numbers of endings. It'd be ridiculous. You just never fit it on the disc, would you?
I can also say that 3 is a very limited number, though. Like, maybe they could have found a halfway house. I mean, you two have played this, haven't you?
I have, yes.
Or
I've gone back to one. I don't know.
yeah, you're a bit like me,
3.
doing the Ultimate Renegade playthrough in Mass Effect 3 by not playing it.
I've decided to go back one because I think I mentioned that 2 was a bit confusing for me, and Jake started playing 1, and he said to me, "You really need to go back to 1 and just get sort of an idea of the races and the story and the people and where everything comes from."
Yeah, that's an interesting perspective, because obviously I know that they made 2 so that you could just jump straight in and play it. But yeah, it's interesting to see that that you got confused with it and actually do need to get a bit more of this kind of backstory from 1.
I mean, there's a very vague. And the beginning of it is very good because it explains sort of comic style, very short, very brief, very quick, what happened in the first one. But I know that there are sort of consequences of your actions and things that happen in 1, that you move along the story and you choose, who lives or dies and stuff like this. Just vague. Maybe I'm talking crap, but this is the idea that I'm under, that my decisions obviously have an influence on other things later on in the game. And so, of course, to be led into number 2 and not really understand what the whole sort of brawl is about, what the argument's about, what the hate between races, or why there's this Reapers, or why they're going around destroying the planet, really sort of left this massive vacant abyss, in the story for me. And I said, look, stop, delete your save, go back and play it. And I asked Jake about it, and he said, if you can, do it. And so he sent me the game kindly, and I'm put it in my Xbox, and I'm playing through it now. So I'm quite early on, but I'm enjoying it. I'm just taking command of the Normandy now. That's
I might take your lead on that then, because the more I play Mass Effect 2, the more I want to go back and play Mass Effect 1. But then it will mean starting the game, starting 2 again, once I've made those decisions myself. So I was thinking that's like kind of something I don't want to do. But yeah, if you've done it, Joey, I might do much the same and do the story.
Oh yeah, now Joey's done it. Oh, now you're going to do it. Oh right, yeah.
If he jumped off a cliff, would you?
Yeah, exactly. Come on, Lemming.
I do in Red Dead. No, I would say that I think, Dan, it's probably the idea that it's going to enhance the experience a little bit more might be a bit exaggerated, but I think that you're going to probably get a better understanding from what I understood what Jake said to me. He was sort of more. He was very sort of evasive of what he was saying to me because he really didn't want to give anything away, but. He was really trying to press a point that it's important that you take notice of what's going on, and so I'm taking his word for it, and I'm taking each step and each sort of when the little ring comes along with the options, I'm reading them carefully, deciding what type of ship I'm going to be and whether it's going to be a good decision, a bad decision, whether it has any permutations, a positive, negative. So it's proving to be quite difficult and slow at the moment, but I am enjoying it. And now I think the real challenge starts when you take the crew, the ship, and everything into your hands and start your real mission.
That is the most important part of that game, though, is to make sure that every decision you make is a decision that means something to you. That actually has some kind of I made that decision and I stand by it, because then when that pays off or doesn't pay off or so on and so forth, it means so much more. When it comes out,
this is what Jake tried to get across to me clearly and blatantly. I think it's important that you play it really slowly and take notice of what you're doing.
Yeah, totally.
And sometimes, I mean, the decisions of whether I basically put myself in Shepard's shoes and say, what would I do in that situation? Knowing my character and knowing myself, what decision would I make? And some of the decisions are really tough, but you're led to believe that this is going to have, you're trying to find the best, because obviously your priority as captain of a ship is really to try and defend your crew and your ship. And you've got people and, a huge amount of life depend on you and protecting it. And of course, I'm going to try to make the best decision I can. Maybe it might not be the most morally the best, but I mean, at least I'm trying to do my best to protect the ship. Whether that will have collateral damage.
Who knows at the moment?
knows?
Yeah, exactly.
Also, you have the choice to be completely morally reprehensible and choose not to look after your crew. Do you know what I mean? To be the kind of standoffish captain who's out for his own ends.
Yeah.
So, like,
to get medals on his chest, you mean?
Yeah, the selfish captain is quite. I don't know which playthrough to go through first. It's one of as an OCD gamer, Mass Effect scares me so much that I could play a million different playthroughs and I'd still want to see the next one.
It will leave you gibbering in a corner.
Yeah, I know. Like, what's Infinity plus one?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah. Well, I think, Dan, if I can give you any advice, just understanding the game, I really enjoy what I've played through so far and really taking it on board. Excuse the pun. As a game that I don't know how I missed this the first time round, and now I really think that it's changed a little bit the way that I understand 2, because obviously 2 had all this in the in the title screens, and so I can sort of expect what's going to happen. But I think from where I am at the moment to what's coming, there is a bit of a surprise waiting for me. So I'm willing to take each step really slowly and play through it as best I can, safe in the knowledge that whatever happens is going to probably be because of a wrong decision or a right decision, but hopefully not something that's going to affect my crew or ship.
Permanent error.
Yeah,
exactly.
I could live with a little minor error, just not a big one. Yeah, but certainly play through it. If you've enjoyed 2 and 3, then we'll go back.
I've got a little recommendation for Mass Effect fans or people that are only starting out in the series now. On the iPhone, there's a program or an app, called Mass Effect Datapad, which when you go into the datapad in the game and you can hear the history of all the races, it has that all built into an app, and it's a free app. So, it's kind of like the Mass Effect Bible as a free download.
Yeah, it's an amazing companion piece that goes along with it. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's nice, and that's for all of them. Is it right the way through from 1 to 3?
I think the history is taken from 3, but it doesn't give spoilers for 3. It just covers the history of the races. So yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
It's an interesting little package.
Well, that might be interesting because it'll fill me in with a bit more info. I always find these things difficult to read in games, where you're just concentrating on what's going on.
Or you want to move the story on quickly, so therefore you just quickly, close it down and carry on. That's what I find I do a lot. So yeah, it's good to go back and see a lot of that amazing writing.
Yeah, I might check that out. That's a good,
especially for free. You can't go wrong, can you? So it feels like a sort of quite a premium product as well for a freebie. That'll be Electronic Arts' money there, I suppose. Now this week we've had a really nice review on iTunes. In fact, we've had 2. One was from a guy. He calls himself The Rebel on iTunes, or Sir Phipps on Twitter. And he gave us a really nice review, but he's also asked if we could do a weekly retro corner section.
So how do you feel about that, man?
I think it's quite a nice idea. I love my retro games.
I was going to say that's right up your street.
And also,
mate.
there was
I can see the big neon sign now, Dan's Retro Corner, and it's done in big 80s neon. Over an arcade Tron style.
Either that, or there was your idea from way back when. Is that I try and I tell you, no, you need to go and play this old game. And we could kind of do it that way.
Pick a game and then...
Yeah, one that you haven't played, just to see what you think of it. Like me as someone who's kind of loved it for years, and you as someone coming to it afresh. So, I don't know, there's a few different ways we can go about it.
But yeah, we'll work that one up, and probably next week we'll have something maybe to show for it.
Can I add a spin to that?
Yeah, go for it, man.
Why don't you choose 3 games that you've played, not tell each other, and get one of you to pick a number of 1, 2, 3, and then that way you don't know what you're playing.
Oh, okay. So every week you don't know what you're playing, but it comes.
Oh, kind of like Battleships,
3,
where I've got 1, 2, and 3.
Yeah.
So I've got 3 retro games here. Choose 1, 2, or 3, and you say choose number 2, and whatever that is.
We'd need to have an independent adjudicator to make sure that none of us change the numbers in the meantime.
No, but you've each got your own lists, of course.
Exactly, but you need to prove that with a timestamp.
Oh,
this is where Dan's OCD comes in now. He's going to make sure he knows every single rule and inside and out before we do it. That's why our pre-production meetings go on for about 2 or 3 hours. Because I've got to explain every single rule in the most minute detail.
Yeah.
I don't mind being ref over Twitter. That's
Oh
fine.
yeah, that would
Superb.
work. Yeah.
That'd do.
One of us
Right,
will
you're on.
DM you the numbers, and then you can like verify it. Sweet.
Okay.
Cool. I was just going to say we had a really nice review on iTunes from a guy that we met up in Glasgow, Imagine Willie. Now,
Yes.
he thought we sounded like Chaz and Dave. That's what he likes to call us. Like, oh, ha 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 ha! Very funny.
Cheeky sausage.
Although I suppose we did enough taking the mickey out of his accent when we were up there in a slightly
Yeah,
messy stupid,
exactly,
so.
exactly. Unfortunately, I'm a bit of a mimic, and like anywhere I go, I end up sort of picking up the voice or something, and like going up there, and then sort of just accidentally slipping into a Glaswegian accent that's terrible.
an extreme version of a social
like,
chameleon.
Yeah, exactly. It's horrible. It's the most horrible thing. You know, you sort of like. I remember I went on holiday and I was in Birmingham, not the most glamorous holiday in the world, but you know, and like sort of chatting to the woman at the reception desk, and I was suddenly getting more and more brummy for no apparent reason out of nowhere. You know, it was ridiculous.
Oh, bless you.
Sort of, are these your keys? Oh yeah, thank you very much. Can I thank you? Oh no, don't stop doing it. You're from Essex, for God's sake. You know. But yeah.
So he sent us a lovely review. And from what I hear, he's going to be starting a podcast with Jace Stokes, who we had on as a guest a few weeks ago.
Well, yeah, that's what Jace was saying, wasn't it? That they were recording. Was it the Console Ninjas?
Yeah, correct. And
yes, so first episode should be up this week. Hopefully, fingers crossed, if all goes
definitely.
well.
Also, our break music this week, that was a really nice tune, and that's by the same guy who has created their theme music for them. His name's Peachy Pixelate, and he's about on Twitter. His name is Peachy Pixelate, and he also provided for us last week the Happy Days theme. So yeah, he seems to be a bit of a master at chiptune of all sorts. Like
exactly, yeah, bit of a
so if you like
super producer,
yeah, if you like that, then give the Console Ninjas a go. We're really looking forward to seeing what they bring to the table, aren't we? Like,
yeah,
two
mate,
lovely
totally,
guys,
totally,
and
a good bunch.
Yeah.
Two lovely guys, really funny, really good laugh. So yeah, once they're up and running, get involved on iTunes and then give them a download because they're well worth it. So right, we better get to plug in Last Save Loaded, as Joey's been on and been so kind to come on as a guest, man. So
Oh, no,
what are all the kind of where can we catch you on Twitter and obviously on iTunes we can pick you up. So
we'll probably just preach a little bit to your listeners.
Yeah,
suppose.
go for it,
I don't know who I am. Last Save Loaded is a podcast where Jake, Justin, and myself have just we talk about games much like you do, about what we've been playing. We have a section called Game in Hell where we take a topic and take a vote and discuss whether we decide to send it to Gaming Hell permanently or whether to save it. We've just finished our season 1. We're taking a season break. Hopefully season 2 will be back pretty soon, so it might be a time for any listeners who are interested to come and catch up on the show.
that's the great thing about podcasts is you can dig into the back catalogue, can't you, and find like gems hidden among things that you might not have even heard before. Sometimes you can even listen back to show you already heard, and sometimes it's like, hang on, I completely missed that bit. So
we also got a Gamecast as well. We've played games as well, which is also a feature that we do where we take a game, the three of us, we play it, and invite a guest on. So there's a few of those. They tend to be quite few and far between. It's a game that sometimes we have a few arguments about deciding which one, but eventually when we get there, we sit down and eventually decide to record a show on it after we've played through it, of course. So we've got another one coming up pretty soon, which is on 13. Have either of you played that on?
I've got on the GameCube. 13. Yeah, it's an interesting game, isn't it?
Yeah, very interesting, self-shaded, very nice. One of Justin's favourites, in fact, I think. Nice. Yeah, I played it, didn't finish it. I have now, but I'm willing to sit down and give it another playthrough and play and talk about it.
We'll look
really.
forward to hearing that.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I always like listening to those gamecasts because they're always fill me in on games I've never heard of. You know, it's because obviously I've got a terrible knowledge of games, so it's always great to have with you guys and Kane and Rince as well, like kind of filling me in on stuff that I've never picked up before. So that's a really
also it's
really
nice that you're kind of keeping a toe in the water of the original Last Save Loaded. Like it hasn't sort of fallen by the wayside. You've kept you embraced the roots as well as like covering the new as well.
Oh
so,
yeah, totally.
Yeah, I mean,
Fantastic.
I think the essence of the show really was that it was that, as the title suggests, the last save that we loaded up so that we can sort of sit down and talk about it. And I think it's just led on from there and it's progressed. And as the show's come on, there's been changes and things have come out of the blue, and we've decided to keep. But we wanted to keep the same sort of home colours, as it were.
Same DNA.
We didn't. Yeah, exactly. Because I think that was the whole point of doing this, and the whole starting it all from the beginning was that we wanted to play through games. Because I'm like you, Chesney. My gaming experience isn't immense, and I want to go back and play some of those old games and the ones I haven't experienced, like Mark of Cree, for example.
Yeah.
Which I didn't even know existed, and yet the beauty of these challenges is going back and playing them and seeing really what you've missed. So it's always good. Yeah, come down and listen to. We haven't got a forum or anything like that, so it's all mainly through Twitter. But
where can we find you on Twitter?
You can find us at Last Save Loaded, all one word. Or you can contact me. I'm at gbjoey71 on Twitter. We also have a Facebook page which you can visit. We put updates on shows and stuff up there. But we should be starting, as I said, season 2 pretty soon.
A few weeks ago, you sent us in a question yourself. You asked us what would our Desert Island game be. Now I'm going to do a bit of a Cilla Black and surprise, surprise, throw the question right back at you. What would your Desert Island game be?
Oh, I think I mentioned this in my question originally, didn't I? I said Red Dead Redemption. I can't really
is that are you sticking by your answer?
Well, can I take 2?
We'll let you. Yeah, we'll let you have another.
Yeah, go on then.
You let me have another one. Okay. Well, I'd have to take the BioShock series with me.
Oh, you're taking another 2 and Minerva's Den, I'm guessing.
Well, I think if I can take one is obviously much better than 2. But even though I enjoyed both, I might just take 1. But Minerva's Den I haven't played yet, so I don't know how good.
Tell you
that
what, this week they've just announced the BioShock Ultimate Rapture Edition, which is the both games and all the DLC. So maybe you could take that, and we'll let you off.
Yeah. Okay. That'll do. I'll take the BioShock
Ultimate Super Hyper Fighting Advanced Edition Alpha.
Yeah. The 11-disc edition. That's the one.
As a slight spin, what would be your Desert Island console? If you could only have one machine to take with you, what would it be?
Ooh. Without sounding too fanboyish, I think that's a good question. You see, I would go for my PS3 because it's the one that I've got most trophies on, and I am sort of PS3 inclined because I've always had a PS1, a PS2, and PS3. I've never really owned an Xbox until a year and a bit ago. But I do like the system because there's lots of stuff on there. The chat, the way the system downloads as well is far quicker. Mind you, you wouldn't have a problem on that on a desert island, would you?
No, exactly.
That's what I was wondering. Does this place have net access?
Exactly.
And if so, are the trophies really important? Because who's going to see them?
Yeah, but you see, I'm a bit of a trophy whore, famously. So I think achievements wouldn't really do it for me. I guess I'd have to sort of have my weekly fix of trophies popping in the corner.
Maybe you could take an extra suitcase full of actual real life trophies for the ones you have on the PS3.
Yeah, that would be
It'd be a separate ship alongside, and then you could just get on that ship and sail away. So it would make it kind of slightly redundant.
Well, unless it sinks, because it would be a hefty trophy.
Yeah. It's just laden down. It's just sunk to the bottom. It's just sort of sat there with all your trophies in it. Yeah, okay. That's fair enough.
I mean, the minute
I love that we're talking about this as if it's
real.
Exactly.
Taking it totally seriously. Absolutely.
Yeah.
What would you take, Chaz?
Mate, what, console? It would probably... Can I get away with saying my Amiga 500? As it's not a console.
Of course you can. Yeah.
But yeah, as a game-playing machine, it would definitely be my Amiga.
I wouldn't let you have the PC, but I'd let you have, because that could encompass all sorts of generations.
I think it'd probably be my Amiga 500, because very similar to Joey, the amount of time and gameplay and the different variations of games that I had on that, I think that could, with the right back catalogue, I could quite happily play on that, forever and a day. Really, really could.
For exactly the same reasons as you, and going completely middle of the timeline, I'd go PS2.
Really?
Yeah. At the time, I thought it was kind of my average console. Like, I had the GameCube, the Xbox, and the PS2. But looking back, yeah, it's, like you say, the breadth of games available.
Yeah. There was a wide...
I don't think I could do without that library. Yeah.
Oh, fantastic.
Like you've got the most casual to the very most hardcore, which again you've probably got with the PS3 and the Amiga. So
Yeah.
Okay, then
so
let me
if we
add
all meet
another
on the same desert island, we've got like 3 awesome things to play.
We just have to make sure we all crash together.
Yeah, damn right. Well, should we take Richard Branson's one?
Yeah.
He won't mind.
Yeah,
Exactly.
Dan, if I mean the PS2, what games would you take with it? And if you had a
Let's limit
PS2
it to 3. Just to
Yeah,
make it
I
easier.
was going to say I've got like
because you've got a hell of a lot of catalogue there. So I'm just thinking,
I know.
just take 3 games
I'd
with you.
take Dark Cloud 2. Sorry, yeah, Dark Chronicle, Dark Cloud 2.
Right.
Purely because it's have either of you played a game by Level 5 like Dragon's Quest 8 or 9 or
I've played Dragon Quest 9.
their games historically don't know when to stop throwing in new features and modes and things like that.
Okay.
And this is their first time on a 32-bit console making like a full RPG. And no one told them when to stop. It's like they learned afterwards when to sort of calm down a bit, but this just keeps on giving more and more stuff to you. And even about 30 hours in, it keeps on expanding. Like it's a build a city game, it's a fishing game, it's a hack and slash RPG. It has like random
It slices,
dungeons.
it dices. You know, you
Yeah.
exactly. You see it on some kind of infomercial late at night.
Hi, Billy Mays here for Dark Cloud 2.
Exactly. So right.
I think I'll probably get away with just that, and maybe a Tekken game. Like,
Yep.
oh no, Tony Hawk's 3,
Yep.
and I can't limit myself to 3 on the PS2.
That's 3.
Too
And then-
many.
And then you have to take one that you haven't played, of course, because otherwise you'd just be playing the same game
Exactly.
again. So maybe Mark of
That's a very
Cree
good
or Gun.
Oh, I've played Mark of Cree,
Okay.
so yeah, I'm not taking that.
Yeah.
Although it's nice to look at. Oh no, I can't choose the last one. I want an RPG, but there's too many of them. Like it was the RPG system of choice for
Yeah.
me. So
Fantastic. Fantastic.
yourselves, if you could take one game for Amiga and PS3 respectively, what would it be?
Oh, for me it'd be Chaos Engine. I love that game.
And I know Red Dead Redemption is on PS3.
Yeah.
So,
That would be
Chaos
like
Engine.
BioShock or Red Dead. I think would be the ones. I mean, I would be tempted to sort of go along the lines of Red Dead Redemption and say GTA 4, but I don't know.
if I was a statistician, I'd say like we've both all picked games that have a steampunk aesthetic. So I'd say if you want to make a game that's going to last maybe 30 years in people's minds, choose the steampunk.
Yeah, exactly. That's weird that we're
3 out of 3.
That's some
Can't
weird
go wrong, can you?
coincidence that we've all sort of picked that. That's a bit odd, isn't it?
No,
Yeah, exactly. I think that's one for getting on the psychologist couch, you know. Like,
We'll end up menstruating at the same time as well.
oh god, we'll all sync up. Oh god. And on that note, should we get out of here?
Yeah, let's. If you've got any ideas for games for me to throw at Chazzy for retro, then send us an email. Again, any questions, anything you want, you can send it email at theaibots.com, or you can find us on Twitter at theaibots. Again, thanks so much to Joey Calvo for coming on.
No, not at all.
And go and listen to Last Save Loaded. Do it.
Yeah, you do that at Last Save Loaded on Twitter. You find the link there and immerse yourself in it. Good stuff.
Well, I mean, you're both welcome to come and join us on Last Save Loaded anytime soon in season 2, maybe when Jake and Justin hopefully take me back after appearing on here.
Exactly.
So
that would be lovely.
We'll extend the hand or the invitation to you. So
thank you
maybe
very much,
can
sir.
Come and join us.
We'll bite your hand off for
thank you
that, sir.
loads.
So thank you very much. That's brilliant. Right, let's get the hell out of here, boys. Right, so
and we'll speak to each other soon.
see you soon. Bye.
Take care. Thanks, Joey. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.